Hello my friends, welcome back to Refit and Sail, and as you can see I'm not in my work clothes, I'm not in the boatyard, I'm actually sitting on my own boat. So this is a Westerly Sealord and tomorrow is the Round the Island race. Now if you're not from the south coast of the UK, that is a fairly big deal. It is a very well attended race. I think there's upwards of 1,000 boats sometimes. I don't think there's that many this year. I think there's something like 700 or so boats taking part. It is an annual pilgrimage around the Isle of Wight. It's about 55 miles and it looks like tomorrow is going to be windy. So as I said, it is a pretty big deal, this race in the south coast. A lot of my friends are doing it on various boats of different sizes. The forecast for tomorrow is looking exciting, I think is probably the best description. The sailing club that organise it, Island Sailing Club, have already cancelled the race for the smaller boats because they are talking about gusts of around 45 miles per hour, so you know, certainly up into the late 30s in terms of knots. So it is going to be fairly lumpy out in the English Channel. So if you don't know the race, we start off Cowes on the Isle of Wight. There's a very long start line that extends out to the Bramble Bank. From there we race up to the Needles and the famous Needles Lighthouse. Turn left there, avoiding the Varvassi shipwreck. There's the old boilers of a ship that sank many years ago just off the Needles Lighthouse. From there it should be a fairly rapid reach down to St Catherine's Point, where you've got St Catherine's Lighthouse. Then we turn left again, unsurprisingly, head down to Bembridge, where we will head left again and beat back up to the finish at Cowes. So half of the race is within the Solent itself and half of the race is in the English Channel to the south of the Isle of Wight. It's about 55 miles. I'm expecting there will be a few retirements. There are normally a few accidents, unfortunately, along the way, so I know the emergency services are all kind of holding their breath for what tomorrow brings, but hopefully there won't be any major issues and it will all be kind of minor stuff. I'm doing it with two friends. It's all a bit last minute organised, this is. So I've got Ben, who is a very good friend of mine who hasn't sailed with me for years and years, but used to be my foredeck when I used to race my Contessa very regularly, and he's a top bloke. He's not here yet. He's on the train down from London. And the other chap is Graham. He is a Contessa sailor. He's recently bought a Contessa. He also owns a wooden boat, which is undergoing an extensive refit, shall we say. So I'll introduce you to them in due course, but I'll quickly show you my boat. Here's a quick peek of my Westerly Sealord. She was built in 1983 from memory. It's 39 foot long. It was later developed into the Westerly Ocean Lord, and it is fair to say that this is very much a dedicated cruising boat. So this was designed for cruising in comfort. It's got a centre cockpit, big aft cabin, and it definitely isn't a racing boat. But there we go. As you can see, I have prepped her fairly well for some breezy conditions. I've got the inner forestay already rigged, and I've got a number 3 or 3.5 I call it on deck, because I know that it's going to be windy enough that I do not really want to be using the furled up Genoa there. When you do a race like the Round the Island, there's such a huge number of boats, they have to split the boats up into a number of classes, and they are initially split between the ISC group and the IRC group. So the ISC group sail under a handicap system called ISCRS, which is a club handicap system that you get, and the boats that are in ISC tend to be the ones that are perhaps slightly less serious about racing, and it might be that there's quite a lot of people in there that the Round the Island is their one and only race of the year that they like to do, so they just go with an ISC rating, which is free when you enter the race. I'm going to be in the IRC group. Now, whilst this is a absolute out-and-out cruising boat, I do have an IRC certificate because of some other racing that I plan to do that I need an IRC certificate for. So I'm going to be in with all those super fast racers. I'm in IRC 3, and there are, I'm going to say, about 60 boats I think in IRC 3, and they range from 29, 28, 29, 30 foot out and out flying machines of race boats right up to 38 foot cruiser racers, performance cruiser racers like the Sigma 38s and that sort of thing. And I'm kind of in the middle of that grouping in terms of my IRC rating. However, I am physically the largest boat in that group. And that's just the way it works, because this is a cruising boat. I've been given a rating that is appropriate. It's not a particularly fast boat for its size compared to a racy 39-foot boat. So it's going to be interesting to see how I do. Obviously, it's going to be windy, which is going to help me because this is a heavy old girl. And, you know, we're just going to go out and have some fun. If we do well, that will be awesome. But realistically, the odds are stacked against. But I've done all that I can. I've had the bottom cleaned. I had the boat lifted a couple of days ago, so the bottom is all squeaky clean and beautiful. I've taken a whole bunch of weight out of the boat. The water tanks are virtually empty. And yeah, all I need now is some bodies to come and sail with me. Good morning. If you're wondering what the Hamble River looks like at dawn, it's about 5 o'clock, 10 to 5, something like that, and we have just left. We were up at, oh my god, it's early this morning, 4:15. I got the boys on board. They arrived last night, and I'll introduce you right now. Right, we have a mooring line still to put away. Hello chaps. So this is Ben the Banana Man, and not because he's wearing yellow oilies, and we have Graham here as well. So Graham is a seasoned, long-standing sailor of many a boat.
Yeah,
Generally, yeah. He's not mic'd up, so hopefully you can hear that, and owns a Contessa. Ben here used to be You're unseasoned because you've taken a long break, but you've come back to it. You've come out of retirement, haven't you? So Ben here used to be my foredeck when I used to do a lot of racing on my old Contessa a number of years ago, but we haven't actually seen each other. We worked it out last night for 8 years, and we haven't raced competitively for probably a bit longer than that. But anyway, this is the dream team. So I'm not entirely sure how the filming's going to work today, because there's an awful lot of boats out racing and there's going to be quite a lot of wind, so I'm just going to do my best and hopefully I'll get some good footage for you to watch if you are watching us at home. I was incorrect when I said how many boats were taking part this year. I had a quick look last night and I think it was about 963 at the last count. So if you imagine that an average boat probably has 6 crew, that's about 6,000 people. There's obviously boats like us which have got less, but there's also quite a lot of boats which will have 8, 10, 12 crew, the bigger ones. So I'm guessing 6,000 people is not going to be too far off the number of actual competitors on those nearly 1,000 boats. Just come out now close to the start line, and behind me, as you can see, there's lots of boats. There's also, it's very, very, very grey, so we're expecting some rain. So I'm just doing a quick update now because I'm going to set the camera up for the start, but there won't be any audio necessarily, because if it's going to pour with rain, which it's forecast to and it looks like it's about to, I can't have this camera out unfortunately, but I'll give you a quick 360. As you can see, we've got the main up, currently 1 reef, and I think that's about to become 2 reefs. And over there is an awful lot of white boats, so there's probably also an awful lot of wind noise on the mic, but it's very, very, very grey up there, and that is coming our way. So I think we're going to have a lot of wind and a lot of rain for a couple of hours to get us up to the Needles. Sadly, we're leaving the sunshine behind. Graham's been bringing us out to the start line. There's a lot of boats with no reefs in, or 1 reef, I suspect are about to change their plans and go for some smaller sails. So we're now in the waiting area for the start here. Starts going off in 10-minute intervals. We've got about 10 minutes or so to our warning signal. I think maybe 15 minutes to our warning signal, and then we are off. But we're just going to bimble around. I've put the 2nd reef in now because it was getting a bit exciting. We had up to, what do we have, 26 knots?
26 over deck at one point.
So, yeah, so we briefly had 26 over the deck, averaging 23 as the rain went through. Down to 17 knots now, but obviously when we're going upwind, we're going to add 6 or 7 knots to that. So we shall see what happens, but be fairly conservative at the start. At the end of the day, this is a racing bungalow. I've even had to put my glasses on because I couldn't see anything. But looking forward to this. It's quite exciting. I haven't done the main Round the Island race for many years. I normally shy away from it because there are so many incidents, accidents, and things like that. We're doing it this year for your pleasure and, well, for mine as well. So there we go. Yeah, I would normally prefer the solo one, which I'm going to be doing in 2 weeks' time. So Solo Offshore Racing Club also do a Round the Island. They call it the Rio Round the Island race. And I thought it'd be fun to do a video on the fully crewed Round the Island race. I say fully crewed, there's only 3 of us. But I will also be doing a single-handed one, so stay tuned for that. Well, we've just had our 10-minute gun, so Ben's on the foredeck just unstrapping the jib, ready to go up. Once he's done that, we'll hoist the jib, and then we'll be on the countdown to our start. The start line is over there, Royal Yacht Squadron over there to an ODM is out there, and there's 2 lights on the shore which when they come into alignment, you're getting closer and closer to the line, and when the bottom light disappears, you are absolutely bang on the line. So that's the best visual we have for timing our run into the start. But to be honest, I'm going to be fairly conservative. I think coming in, despite this being a racing bungalow, we just want to get round safely, and we are in a fleet of lots of fairly keen racers, so I think prudence will be in play. Right, we have 4 minutes to our start. What we'll do is I'm going to probably chuck a tack in, and then we'll start starboard. How are we doing on those lights? Oh, we're okay. We're right side of the light now. We are good. Let's give it a tug, Ben. Where the fuck's this green boat going now?
Fleet 5, this is Castle 1. The individual recall was for 4 boats. I say again, for 4 boats.
What happened there? Chuck a tack in at some point because we want to get over the other side of the channel to get into the deeper water. Okay, ready, Bill? Ready. Okie dokie. 3, 2, 1, tacking. Keep going, a little bit more. Keep going. Just coming up to 8 o'clock, and it's fairly unpleasant. We've got on kind of 26 to 28 knots at the moment. I've had up to about 34, I think. Woo! And it's quite exciting, I think is the positive spin. The rain is clearing now, but we have had fairly heavy rain, which has reduced visibility, which makes spotting boats quite tricky. And in fact, talking to camera is quite tricky. Folks, as you can see, we are now goose winged. We're just coming up to Yarmouth, and we goose winged because we're going the wrong way. We're going the wrong way because I've called it. We had peak 38 knots, and it was just building and building and building, and we haven't reached peak wind yet. So I'm afraid I've had to do the sensible thing, along with quite a lot of other boats, including that Challenge 72 that's just over there. And sometimes you just got to call it and live to fight another day. Not managed to do much filming, I'm afraid, because it's been bloody horrible. We're all fairly wet, and it's time to have a cup of tea and call it. Lucky Contessa 26 over there. This storm jib up, but going well under full main and storm jib. Good on you, Malta. They are very, very wet, I imagine, but they are going well. It looks like, no, it is meow. It's a very, very tricked up Contessa 26 now. I have raced against it in the solo around the island and beaten, but not by much, I'm pleased there we go, there's a view. We've dropped the jib, heading downwind. It is a little bit of a disappointment. I've been looking forward to this race, but sometimes you just got to be sensible. Lots and lots of boats have been retiring and going in as well. Some fairly large ones, some not so large. Yeah, I'm happy with the decision. It's pretty unpleasant. It was going to get even more unpleasant. So there we go. Ben, a few words from the Banana Man. Are you disappointed?
I'm not disappointed. Basically, the only reason we stopped is because I'm rubbish at sailing, and they can see in my face I was scared because I'm from London. But no, it was good. It's a good decision. It's scary, wet. It's going to get wild, so it's good fun.
Quick word from Graham. How were the conditions, Graham? Was it the right call? Was it very unpleasant?
It was fresh and wet, and I'd have made the same call myself.
Okay. There are an awful lot of boats that have made the same decision as us to head back in. There are not, well, I've not seen any going the other way the last half an hour. Lots and lots heading back home early. We are back in the marina, as you can probably see, and we have just eaten all the beige food that we bought for our trip around the island. It was slightly disappointing to end the race early, but I am in fact very, very happy with the decision to finish because it was pretty unpleasant. It was 38 knots when we finally called it. That was in the gusts, to be fair, and we hadn't reached the peak of the wind, so it was only going to get worse. So having looked at some pictures around the back of the island, it was the right decision. And looking at the tracker, from what I gather, of the nearly 1,000 boats that have started and signed up to the race, about 100 made it around the Needles. So I'm not sure how many actually finished. I'm going to look at the final results later. But we were in very, very good company. And yeah, sometimes that's just the way it goes. You've got to make the decision which is right for you, right for the boat, right for the crew, and do the safe thing. Graham, did you enjoy yourself? How did you feel it went today?
Certainly enjoyed myself. Yes, the bungalow performs well, and I'd gladly do it again. But maybe on a slightly lighter day next time.
Yeah, we could do with a bit less wind and slightly less rain and slightly better visibility would be good. Ben, how was it on the bungalow?
It was my first time sailing for 8 years, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Rebaptism of
Baptism of wet.
Yes.
Yeah. A moist baptism.
It's like wind blush after.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. You heard it here first. It was a moist baptism on the Floating Bungalow. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, this is YouTube, so I have to say like and subscribe. And genuinely, it does make a difference to growing the channel. So if you give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't done, subscribe. That would be really, really appreciated. This is going to be the first of a two-parter because the plan was to do the main Round the Island race, and in 2 weeks' time it is the solo Round the Island race, which I am also entered in. So watch this space for more Round the Island action when hopefully I'll actually make it all the way round the island, as opposed to, you know, most of the way to the Needles and calling it a day. 2 laps.
Yeah, do 2 laps and then you're done, aren't you?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
No deck.
That's a great idea. Thanks, Ben. Yeah. Right. Bye, folks. See you next time.